Good day, everyone. I am Dr. John Franklin Dresser, currently working at Schools Division of El Salvador City as Education Program Supervisor in MAPE and completed my doctorate with a degree of Doctor of Philosophy, major in Educational Management at Capital University, Cagayan de Oro City. Allow me to present my research study entitled The Predictive Role of Teachers' Demographic Characteristics and Instructional Practices Towards Physical Education and Teaching Competence in the Public School System. One of the Department of Education goals is to promote and produce globally competitive learners who are developed holistically. Part of its program for holistic growth is the emphasis on physical education and sports. Pursuant to Republic Act 5708, the Department of Education shall implement an integrated physical education and sports development program in all public schools throughout the Philippines, including a program on general physical fitness for elementary and secondary school students. Instructional practices in PE adhere to the standards for developing learners to acquire skills. Thus, Move to Learn and Learn to Move is a philosophy that anchors the physical education program inside the DepEd's K-12 basic education program. With this, PE teachers' competencies in dealing with the students and implementing PE curriculum with the use of appropriate planning, strategies, and assessment is essential to materialize the philosophy behind PE. The pandemic has negative impact on physical education and sports worldwide. Further, it caused the cancellation and shutdown of sporting events and trainings. Meanwhile, sports and training competition shifted to the online world. With this, physical activities and sports are slowly rising amidst pandemics, and it is a sign that sports and physical activities will never be eliminated, whatever is going to happen. With the fact mentioned above, this research study aims to assess the public schools' physical education instructional practices and competence in one of the schools divisions in the Northern Mindanao region. This research seeks to answer the following questions. What is the demographic profile of the teacher respondents as to age, sex, educational attainment, length of teaching, level of seminars or training attended, and area of specialization? What is the teacher's perceived extent of physical education instructional practices in terms of the following: learning environment, instructional strategies, curriculum, assessment, and professionalism? What is the level of teachers' competencies as assessed by students in terms of planning competencies, implementation competencies, personal and social competencies, motivational competencies, and assessment competencies? Is there a significant relationship between the extent of physical education instructional practices and teachers' level of competence? Do demographic characteristics predict teachers' competence? Do teachers' instructional practices predict teacher competence? What are the issues and concerns in schools' physical education by the PE teachers? Based on the findings, what action plan can be designed and developed to improve PE teachers' competence? The framework of the study followed the criterion predictor model. The predictor variables comprise the instructional practices in physical education and the profile of the respondents regarding age, gender, educational attainment, seminars, training attended, length of service in the public school, and area of specialization. Meanwhile, the PE teacher's competencies serve as the criterion variables. These variables were used to measure the extent of teachers' practices. The practices of PE teachers refer to the Shape America or Society of Health and Physical Educators. Design the following grid to illustrate physical education strategies that are developmentally appropriate for elementary, middle, and high school students. The grid categorizes practices into 5 main groups: the learning environment, the instructional strategies, the curriculum, the assessment, and the professionalism. For the research methodology, this study employed a predictive-correlational research design to ascertain whether there is a predictive association between physical education practices and teacher competence. This study was conducted in all elementary and secondary schools in one of the divisions in Region 10, 15 elementary schools, and 8 secondary schools. Proportionate stratified random sampling to select the study samples was utilized. The respondents were the 107 PE teachers and 227 learner respondents. Researcher-made questionnaire was given to the PE teacher respondents and learner respondents. The questionnaire was based on the Society of Health and Physical Educators America and Altawell and Ijafret of 2017 with some modifications made to the questions. I also formulated the questions using the actual situations of the PE teachers in the Philippine education system. The instruments were found valid and reliable through pilot testing. I asked permission from the authorities prior to the conduct of the study. Informed and parental consent was gathered during the administration of the questionnaire via online and face-to-face. Then focus group discussion was conducted. The study utilized thematic analysis, descriptive statistics, specifically the mean, frequency, and standard deviation, and inferential statistics, specifically the person-hour correlations coefficient and regression analysis. Here are the results of this study. High number of PE teachers are of 25 to 29 years old, and the lowest are in the range of 20 to 24 years old. Most of the PE teachers are female. Census data reveals that the Philippines teaching is a mostly female occupation. Majority of the PE teachers hold a bachelor's degree. Highest number of teachers is below 5 years of teaching experience. Majority of the teachers are trained in the division level, and most of the teachers teaching PE are generalists. Since I have elementary teachers as part of participants in this study. With regards to the teacher's extent of physical education instructional practices, the overall results imply that the teachers are highly practiced in PE instructional practices, which shows the average mean of 3.38 and standard deviation of 0.50. The table further revealed that the well-distribution of the respondents' extent of PE instructional practices. It implies that the respondents fully apply the indicators of the PE instructional practices. Therefore, high number of respondents assess themselves as high extent in the practice of the PE instructional practices. For the teacher's competency as evaluated by the students, the overall results implied that the teachers are competent as assessed by the students, which shows that the average mean of 3.06 and standard deviation of 0.65. It implies that PE teachers are competent in delivering and developing learners that enhance the teaching and learning process. The instructional practices and the teacher's level of competence was not significantly correlated, with the p-value of 0.138. The demographic characteristics did not significantly predict the teacher's competence since the observed p-values exceed at the 0.05 level of significance. The instructional practices relative to the learning environment, instructional strategies, curriculum, and assessment did not significantly predict the teacher's competence since the corresponding p-values smaller than t-values exceed the 0.05 level of significance. This constitutes to the ideas that the level of competence of the teachers were not influenced by their instructional practices. But the regression model is not significant with a p-value of 0.472. Here are the issues and concerns raised in schools physical education by the PE teachers. Difficulties in teaching PE in the distance learning, the safety, the limited resources, time, and teachers' content knowledge in PE. An action plan that intends to improve the PE teachers' content knowledge, pedagogical knowledge, and technological knowledge in physical education to increase their confidence in teaching PE and to make them effective and efficient, eventually committing themselves to nurturing every learners and becoming passionate about teaching. This study concludes that the instructional practices of PE teachers have nothing to do with their competency. Even though the majority of the teachers teaching PE in the public school system are not specialists, they still adhere to have good instructional practices, although certain doubts on whether their practices are correct and adhere to the standards of physical education. This is also evident in the number of issues and concerns PE teachers have addressed to enhance the delivery of learning. However, students believe in the qualities and abilities of their respective PE teachers, having assessed their PE teachers as competent, even though the majority of the teachers were not specialists. This study recommends the following. PE teachers were encouraged to uplift and reskill themselves. Schools were encouraged to include upskilling and reskilling of the PE teachers in their respective schools' improvement plans. Close monitoring of teachers' performances and provision of technical assistance. DepEd should consider the provision of training and workshops for teachers' technological, pedagogical, and content knowledge in PE. Use the results of the study as baseline data or information in the coming research study concerning physical education teachers' instructional practices and competency, and studies similar to this should be undertaken to determine other critical factors that could influence PE teachers' performance. The result of the study is useful in the implementation of the PE curriculum in our schools division, as we have baseline data on what activities, supports, technical assistance, and training we could conduct for our teachers to upskill and reskill their knowledge and skills that could strengthen the implementation of the PE curriculum. As to my insights and personal journey, the conduct of the study was quite challenging due to the pandemic restrictions. PE teachers have a number of difficulties and challenges that have not yet been addressed. And as a MAPI supervisor, it is my challenge to uplift the PE curriculum in our schools division by giving support to the teachers to teach better aligned with the matatag agenda of the Department of Education. And here are the references of this study. Thank you for watching and have a good day.